Hey, welcome back to another informative episode of Bitcoin and Tech Wealth Edge. I'm your host at Hodler Ranch. Thanks for joining. Today we're going to be discussing the new metric that I spent all last week and weekend working on called the Bitcoin Power Score. So we're going to dive into that and a few other data pieces around the Bitcoin Treasury Companies today. So first off, on my website, bitcoinwealthedge.com, you'll see at the top here, on the home page, you'll see right away that there's a Bitcoin Power Score Top 10. You'll notice that Strategy has a score of 100. And by the way, the scores go from 0 to 100. And anyway, Strategy ranks the highest. And to make the top 10 currently, you would need a score of 35 to be in there. To see more details around the Bitcoin Power Score that I've created, just simply navigate over to that tab from the home page, and you can just see a write-up that I have. But essentially, I took 19 different categories. Again, I'm tracking over 40 different metrics. And the reason I'm only tracking 50 companies is because I wanted to. There's other companies out there that are tracking all the Bitcoin Treasury companies, and I think that's awesome. However, I'm focused on the top 50, and I'm focused on having more metrics than anybody. So the idea is to easily identify, like I previously had a column in here for buy, sell, or hold as my recommendation. And that's all good and well, but I felt that was kind of limited. So I wanted a way to just quickly identify like a hidden gem. Like what company stands out on a score of 0 to 100, right? And how do we go about that? So I took, of all those metrics of more than 40 that I'm using, I selected 19 of them. And I have normalized and created a metric in such a way that each one of those, and some categories are rewarded for having a low score, like for debt, or for having that range of leverage, having that low mNAV, and some are getting rewarded for having a high score, right, for Bitcoin held. Obviously, for a company like Strategy, you want that to be rewarded, and it definitely reflects in the score. But the idea is every single one of the categories that I'm using, they're getting a score in between a 0 and a 100. And then that's being averaged out over those 19 metrics. And what I've got is a proprietary metric here that spits out one score, one Bitcoin Power Score for each and every one of the companies that I'm tracking. And again, if somebody moves into the top 50, that means I will bump, just like the S&P 500, that means I will bump somebody out or multiple companies out to make room. So let's go back to the homepage. I wanted to also point out this week was monumental. Did you know that this week, congrats to everybody in the Bitcoin Treasury space, we now have all 50 companies. Okay, so hear this. All 50 companies now have a minimum of 1,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So that's like really an aha moment. Like that is a mile marker that needs to be celebrated. When we look back through the history of Bitcoin and the Bitcoin Treasury companies, the fact that to be in here, you now have to have 1,000. There are many companies. I believe one day every company's going to have Bitcoin on their balance sheet. There are so many companies that will never have a chance at making it to 1,000. So for these 50 companies around the world that are on here, well done. Congratulations. These 50 companies also represent the majority of the Bitcoin that's held by Bitcoin Treasury companies. They're now over 1 million Bitcoin by the top 50, which is almost, we're closing it at 5%. So I think that's pretty awesome. Again, I've got a lot of categories on here that would take a long time to go through and really be able to see. As you can see, it goes, all the way to like who runs their Twitter account, how many Twitter followers they have, the chances that they would be a liquidity risk, the short interest on them. I've got it all covered here. And I know it's not easy to see the way it's done here, and that's by design. I did also create a chart that you can access as well. This is great because you can come in, it's completely sortable and filterable. So let's say you wanted to come in and you wanted to know the who has the best mNAV. You can come in here and you can sort it either direction, like who has the highest. Obviously Tesla has a ridiculously high mNAV because they're a $1 trillion company that's only holding about 10,000 Bitcoin. But let's say you wanted to find the companies that were trading at a discount, which, by the way, Semler getting bought by Strive Asset just recently, just yesterday, that announcement happening. There's a lot that I want to discuss with that too. I think I'm going to make a separate video on the valuations for both, how many shares that will be outstanding and diluted for both, and where that would kind of shake out. The total of, it's easy to know the total of Bitcoin, but it's more difficult to know how many shares are involved and at what price those shareholders are getting that at, and possibly rewarded, or possibly the other way on that too. So there's a lot of details in that. So I'm going to make another video on that soon here. But just, again, to the point earlier, if you wanted to see how many were at, and so like this is in real time. So we just had one move here. But this shows you right off the bat, highlighted in orange, anything that was under an mNAV of a 1, right? And so you can do this with any category. You can come in and sort this, and it makes it very easy to stand out. You can see who's acquiring Bitcoin at the daily rate, the fastest. Again, to get this, all you have to do is, again, come to bitcoinwealthedge.com, my site, and then just click on the merch button here. I'm also selling some coffee mugs and shirts. I'm adding, kind of slowly building up a store here. So, supporting me here would be great. Again, I'm running this site all by myself on my own dime, not making anything off of this. And I've put these prices in to where I'm not barely making anything. About the only way that you can help reward my hours and hours of work would be to come in and buy this super cheap. I've got it in here, in fact, on sale right now at like $11. Okay, so this is like my life's passion and work, coming in and putting this spreadsheet together. Again, you're going to get this. It's in real time. You're going to be able to sort and filter. So this is going to supercharge your investments. You'll be able to go in and see right away, because there's so many conversations on X and on social media around like, oh, is this company a scam, or is this? No, I would tell you if there was a scam out there. I haven't seen a scam in the top 50, but what I would tell you is the share count, the dilution, the pipe deals, who's running the show, all the things that are going on behind that, then put out that number. And if I know one thing about markets, that after being in markets now for nearly 30 years, is markets will trend to efficiency. They will spot it and they will find efficiencies. And so there is so much to unpack when it comes to like Nakamoto and the number of shares, of 500 million shares at, some of those pipe shares sold at $1.12. So it's no wonder it went from $10 now down to just over $1, right? So if you don't know that, you're going to think, oh, I'm being scammed. And that's not it. But coming across the data and understanding it is not very easy. And so I spend my entire day just about doing that work for you. So you don't have to do that work. So you can come in and say, oh, wow. And then I've made it even better now with the Bitcoin Power Score, again, the BPS. So you'll see that added, or I made it real easy so it's on the first column, so even before the ticker. So when you come in, you'll be able to say, okay, who's got the best power score? And you'll be able to sort by that if you purchase. Again, that's not a monthly fee. I'm thinking about charging this as a monthly fee going forward, but to those that are riding with me early on here, I'm basically giving it away to you for a one-time fee of $11 to be able to have all the info that I am accumulating here in real time. Again, the website's full of other tons of information, free information. I've got a beautiful mNAV chart in here so you can see anybody that's got an mNAV of less than 2 is highlighted in orange. Anything over 2 is highlighted in black. And again, so that's going to impact share price. So you might really love the people running it. You might love what's going on, but like a Gemini, they got an awesome credit card. The Winklevoss twins have been doing this for a long time. But the mNAV right now is at 3.37. Okay, so on that IPO. So I wouldn't recommend that right now, even though, what they're doing and their Bitcoin holdings, that's all great. But again, it comes down to what's a deal for the investor, for the retail investor. At this point, you'd be a retail bag holder if you bought it at high of a premium. So just my 2 cents there. Again, I've got a lot of charts. I've got all kinds of things on this website that I think you'll find very useful. Again, thank you for joining. Please check out my Bitcoin Power Score. Please like and subscribe. Thank you and have a nice day.